Back with another Rise of the Ronin guide, and today we're going to be taking an in-depth look at how to do counter spark chains. Now, what really helps me is to focus on the end of the blade and the tip of the spears. The only time you want to focus on your opponent's upper body is if they're unarmed, otherwise focus solely on the incoming weapon. Try to slow it down and focus on each attack individually. It's okay to miss some. Eventually, you can pick up the rhythm and cadence of an enemy's entire moveset over time. Another important tip is to try to maintain distance. Every enemy has an attack or multiple attacks that are very hard to read close up. Keep your distance and counterspark as the end of their weapon comes near you. Now, some bosses might actually incorporate martial arts in their attacks, so you might see a punch or a kick. Usually you have the red flash to indicate that it's coming, but what you want to do is you want to counter it just like it's a weapon. You want to make sure that you're at the end of it, and you just basically want to treat it exactly like a weapon. Just make sure that you're not hitting triangle during the windup. You want to wait till it's actually in motion and coming at you when you hit triangle, the same way I've been telling you to do for the weapons. One of the things that helped me master this was the dojo. The dojo is one of the most valuable tools you have in this game when you're trying to learn how to counter spark or you're trying to learn how to do counter spark chains. Now, as you see here, almost everybody you fight is on this level. They all have a lot of quick attacks in succession, and you're able to just drill it over and over and over again, and it really gets you ready for, the harder levels in the game. I spend so much time in the dojo, and honestly, I enjoy it. Like, I really am having a great time playing this game, but I've honestly spent about maybe an hour or 2 hours in the dojo just going down the list, trying to beat my score, trying to get master rank on each individual person, and it will definitely make you a lot better. Eventually, you'll learn everyone's moveset and cadence, and you'll just understand the system a lot better if you just spend time in the dojo. Now, another thing that's great about the dojo is if you know how to work it, you will be able to up your weapon proficiency, and you'll also be able to up your counter spark window. You can do this pretty quickly. All you need to do is make sure that you're facing off against an opponent that's using the exact same weapon that you're using. This way you'll get double experience from fighting somebody with that weapon and from using that weapon. Now, the experience is based on how well you score at the end of the training session, but even as long as you're passing the training session, you're gaining experience, and with that weapon you're going to gain weapon proficiency with that weapon. So it does matter, but the higher you score, the more proficiency you gain. But either way, you're going to get, the whole time you're practicing, it's going to get easier. That's one of the things that I actually really do like about this game. You actually kind of just feel the journey of your character getting better through practice. I think the best way I can describe the counter spark system is hard to learn but easy to master. Once you get over that initial hump of just learning when to press triangle, the game becomes a lot easier, especially to the hyper aggressive enemies. You start to look at them a lot differently. You're not really as afraid of them anymore. Each attack becomes an opportunity for you to counter and just sap their meter. Next, I want to talk about switching weapons and styles in combat. Now, the first thing you want to do is familiarize yourself with the combat before you jump to this level. Next, you want to practice switching styles and weapons. Then you want to formulate combos based on your favorite styles and martial skills between your two weapons. I actually focus a lot less on the colored arrow next to the enemy's health bar when switching, because I'm rapidly switching between styles and the focus is to quickly overwhelm your opponent. You need to watch your stamina gauge and be ready to counter spark though. This takes some time to get used to. Make sure your build is developed enough before you try this. I recommend at least being about 40% to the main story and having two weapons with 3 available styles. Now, on top of this too, I'd actually go a little bit deeper and say that I also recommend you having at least 2 styles that are at least advanced, because you want to make sure that you have at least 3 different martial skills that you can use. Otherwise, there's no reason for you to be switching yet. But overall, I usually like to switch to overwhelm my opponents. Like, I try to go for the stamina gauge. That's why I don't really worry so much about the damage right off the bat. When I'm trying to do damage, I make sure that I'm using a stance that's at an advantage. But when I'm trying to overwhelm, I'm just switching to overwhelm and drop their meter so I can critical. Hopefully this was helpful to some people. I know that it took me a little while to understand and learn this, but eventually you'll get used to it. The main thing that it took me a long time to get used to was the placement of the switching and, knowing when to do it in combat. What you want to do is you want to make sure that you're switching while you're attacking, while you're in a combo. You want to switch to another stance to initiate the violent Gale to, do that twirl that you see. Now, every weapon has a different animation for violent Gale. For example, Violent Gale with the paired swords is really hard to distinguish from a regular slash, so I have a hard time visually picking up on it even for my own gameplay. I see a lot of people copying other people's play styles. I feel like everybody should just come into this and formulate their own style. Get your own combo together, because this game is very open-ended. You have a lot of options. You have a lot of different things you can mix and match. I think it's best if people just found what worked best for them instead of just trying to copy other people. I don't think this game has a singular build that's just way better than all the other builds. I feel like every weapon is good. I feel like every weapon can be great. I think they all just have their own strengths and weaknesses. I think everybody should just play whatever they feel like is fun to play with. You know, don't worry about trying to make some OP build. Just have fun because depending on what you do in the story and who you align yourself with, it's going to pretty much give you a narrow path of who you can, you know, train with and who you can learn from, which combat styles you can get, what you can master, etc. Obviously, you know, you probably have to play the game twice or use the Testament of Soul to get everything. But on your first playthrough, I feel like you should be focusing on trying to master a singular weapon. Now, you could try to master two, but I feel like it's best to just have one weapon that you like above all the rest. And you know, you can have one that you switch to, and you know, situationally, or you can just have a second slot to just experiment with all the weapons in the game. But it really does pay off to pour everything into one weapon, in my opinion. All right, with that being said, hopefully y'all enjoyed the video, man. Like, comment, subscribe. You guys let me know what y'all think in the comment section, and thank y'all for watching. Peace.
The shame of it all.